Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Best Care Anywhere podcast. My name is Anthony. I am your host. You know that already. Joining us live from the center of America, it's Ethan Wilson.
That's right. Friends. No more hatred. Friends. Now shut up.
I'll kill you. I love it. And waltzing into our episode, much like Sidney Friedman, it is the great Mike Jamison.
Oh, I don't know about great. I mean, extraordinary maybe, but I don't know about great. I'm so glad that you compared me to Sidney. That is the nicest compliment I've ever received in my life, to be compared to Sidney Friedman.
We'll get into it. I literally had that thought today where it's like, and Sidney just walks in, just unannounced. I'm here.
He's Sidney. He walks in like the badass that he is and just takes over the room.
Exactly.
Mr. Big swinging dick around town. And we're off.
I'm sure Sidney would have an interesting thought or two on that particular statement.
He would.
Exactly.
10 cents for you, Sidney. Thanks for seeing me.
Mike, you're our first guest for season 3. Welcome. It's been a hot minute. You've been a globetrotter and trendsetter and starting like 7 different podcasts. You've been busy.
7 podcasts started, possibly none of them still existing. We are recording this at 10 o'clock Eastern time, which is basically the only time that I can actually record without having to go to a child's sporting event or help them with some kind of homework, mow the lawn, or possibly go to a sunflower field, which I had to do today with my wife and take pictures because don't want to get divorced, so I had to do that.
No. My dad literally plans a trip to San Diego with my mom specifically for the purpose of they enjoy it and so that my mom doesn't wrap a lamp cord around his neck in the middle of the night one night, you know? It's like,
I mean, unless you're into that
hey,
kind
it's
of
time
stuff.
to go to San Diego. Let's go. Ethan, we'll check in with you. How's Ethan? Is Kansas still Kansas? Nothing new and exciting?
No, we haven't been overtaken by Ohio yet, but
yet.
Yeah.
Exactly. How about you? Is California on fire?
Oh, constantly. In fact, there was a fire under the Forest Hill Bridge yesterday. Again, yeah. Arson, believe it or not. Who'd have thunk?
Wow, normally the crimes that...
Oh, no, crimes, yes, continue.
I was just going to say, normally the crime that takes place at the Forest Hill Bridge is much more tragic.
Yeah, paragliding. No, they got a guy a couple weeks ago jumping off the Forest Hill Bridge and with a parachute, and it's like, that's cool. You can't do that. Not fun. I will say, apologies to the audience. Scoutmaster Anthony's been busy, and Scoutmaster Anthony has been neglecting his podcasting duties, so we will be correcting that. The summer is officially over. We had the big, 200 merit badge award ceremony for the kids for the end of summer that I am the one that gets to plan, or had to plan, so I was a little verklempt the last couple weeks, but that is over. We're back to much more normal scheduling, so I'm going to burn the midnight oil, get caught up on the video parts of the podcast. Patreon people, I owe you some exclusive stuff we meant to mention. There's some merch designs that need to get posted and finished, so...
There's a tasteful bubble bath photo shoot that Anthony took part in without his knowledge. We have a lot of...
What? And just like that, we're back. So, without further ado, we do have a little bit of housekeeping from last episode I wanted to share. The wonderful Bella Sissa over on our Patreon left a comment about Iron Guts Kelly that I happen to agree with. I think Ethan... it's taken 3 seasons, but I think we were wrong on something. On the way we interpreted a part of an episode, which...
Wow, what
I know,
a scary new feeling.
Shocking it took this long. It's been all sunshine and lollipops until now, but Bella Sissa says, another great one. I have to disagree with you about Margaret, though. This is one of the episodes that shows her moving away from Frank. It's part of her arc. She begins both standing up to him and realizing just how clueless he really is. Yes, it's peak hot lips. She will always lust after a man who outranks her, but there's a reason it's in season 3. She needs to start trusting Hawkeye more and be able to see Frank for what he is so that her character can move forward. I agree.
Damn.
I think we said that she went to Hawkeye because, you know, it's obviously Hawkeye and Trapper would know what to do with a dead body in the middle of the night, which fair. But also, I think Bella Sissa hits on that point where Margaret is starting to see that Frank is a pip, but currently he's still her pip, and it's weird and adorable in kind of a freaky sort of way.
Yeah,
So.
I can't help but think that maybe you should have come on last episode, Bella Sissa, but you know what? That's none of my business.
Hey, Ethan, don't. Yeah. If I brought the guests that we asked on for every episode they asked for, we would not have a guest for the next like 20 episodes. And as much as I would love that, I would be panicking because I already can't keep up with the podcast some days. I don't want to loop another person into my poor time management skills. But I will say we are going to have Bella Sissa and Mike on at least 2 times each this season because some of the episodes we're bringing you back for Big Mac. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm going to drop the lead now. I'm sorry. I lied.
Oh,
I don't think it's Big Mac. I'm bringing you back for the consultant because you and I need to have words about that episode.
Yeah, but can I come back for the last episode too?
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that.
I mean, since I'm here, I'll just grovel now while I'm here and I have you.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Over on Twitter, I saw a very interesting conversation happen today. Apparently,
on Twitter?
Yeah, I know. What?
Really?
Interesting
Wow.
Conversations on Twitter. So someone's in our community, someone's who shall remain nameless,
me,
says something about, you know, having a big, you know, party, maybe a 6 to 8 hour breakdown of some of the episodes, like Welcome to Korea, Goodbye, Farewell, Amen. Look, I love the concept of that, but that's a lot of time. However, I would like to try to get you, maybe Bella Sissa, maybe Chief Smash, some of the guests we've had. I do kind of want to do maybe a panel type episode for Abyssinia Henry. So since you're the first guest, you're getting the first official invitation.
Well, can I tell you that my belly button is puckering and unpuckering just thinking about it?
Yes, you may. The only downside is currently, as we are scheduled, Abyssinia Henry would be the episode we record the Monday that I am in Kansas visiting Ethan. So it absolutely is not going to be happening then. But there you go. It's happening. The Abyssinia Henry panel where we just watch Ethan cry for 2 hours.
I mean, if you're there, you can bring the Kleenex with you and dab at his tears.
Yeah, first of all, not thrilled at the concept of looping multiple people into my first time openly weeping like a child.
We're gonna record you and I watching the episode for the first time just so we have clips to pull of you going, "What the fuck?"
But of course, this is just like Abyssinia is sort of like an absinthe derivative, so Henry just gets shit-faced, and that's the episode, right?
No, that's what it's about. Henry getting drunk off absinthe, and everything's fine, and nothing bad ever happens in the world ever. Moving right along.
It's all a dream.
It's all a dream. I'm fine. I'm okay. All right. Yeah, that's 20 episodes from now. Until then,
that's next summer.
That's next summer. What a concept. Until then, shall we discuss season 5 or season 5? Wow. Season 2, episode 5.
Still wrong.
Is it what? Am I wrong?
Oh, I thought you said season 2.
You know what? I did say season 2 because I wrote season 2 on my notes. Man, hey guys, yesterday I talked for 5 hours to a bunch of teenagers about leadership. My brain no work. Let's just roll that back. Audience, you didn't hear any of that. Hey guys, shall we discuss season 3, episode 5, OR?
Hell yeah.
All right. Season 3, episode 5, OR, written by Laurence and Larry, directed by Gene Reynolds, so you know it's going to be a good one. The entire production team is here. It aired October 8th, 1974, and I think this is the first true bottle episode. This is the first time we do not leave the OR room except for the scrub room, and that. Mike, what is it? Just a corridor? What
The hallway, yeah, the hallway between
with the
the
glass with the
OR.
random with the random French doors?
Yeah, because I think the other doors lead out to the scrub. It's the whole map of the offices in MASH and the swamp and even the camp itself exist in some kind of pocket dimension where things change from episode to episode, because
Yeah.
sometimes you can go out those doors and it leads right to Radar's office, but then there's other times you can go out those doors and it leads to the scrub room. But yeah, I guess it's a hallway that, but where they it's a hallway.
Yeah. Well,
It's a
I
hallway.
shared, and I'll post it when we post the episode, and it'll also be in the video. I shared the map by Jim Stevenson that goes around pretty frequently. I think this is the best layout or description of how they filmed inside the offices and post-op and all that. It's not a in-universe map, it's a film map. It shows you where all the flying walls are. Because from our viewpoint in OR, we are looking through a wall. The wall there should be, like, literally we go from the scrub room over through a wall, or from OR into the scrub room when Hawkeye and Trapper walk by. Like, clearly we're in a pocket dimension where we can just float through walls. But I think this map makes the most sense. You got the scrub room, OR, and then that corridor. And yeah, the doors, at least in this map, lead into the company clerk's office. But
Usually,
hey,
when
you
I'm in a
know,
pocket dimension where I can float through walls, I've been drinking gin.
hey,
Hey, on a completely unrelated note, guess what I'm drinking?
gin.
No.
So
Yes.
yes. So we open with the announcement that wounded are on the way. All shifts report to surgery. It's going to be a big one. And we open on a completely dead, silent, and empty OR as people begin trickling in for the long haul session they're about to pull. Trapper is, based on his look and demeanor, he is a bit hungover, and the emphasis on a bit. He tried to eat the cherries out of a slot machine, which is...
We've all been there.
Yep.
I mean, this
though?
is
Yes.
well, this is basically going to be me tomorrow morning after we're done recording this podcast, because I'm drinking now
fair.
and need to get up at 5:30 tomorrow morning. So I may walk around with the sunglasses as I'm making my children. I'm not going to be scrubbing in for surgery. I'll be making breakfast for my children before school. But I mean, same thing.
Fair.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
I would like to take a moment and defend Henry Blake for a second. We usually...
Already?
I'm going to defend Henry Blake. I'm going to defend Henry Blake a couple times, but there's the joke that, like, Henry's a farcical administrator, right? Margaret's words, not mine. A mealy mouth fly fishing imposter, I believe she also says. I think part of Henry's leadership gets a bad rap because he constantly has Radar filling in, saying what he's already going to be saying, or filling in the gaps to stuff he was already going to do. Like in here, he comes in saying it's going to be a big one. We might need extra blankets. We need to we should get the road clear for the ambulances. It's not that he doesn't know what needs to happen. I literally wrote in my notes, Henry isn't a bad CO. Radar is just a better clerk.
And we're going to see it I'm not going to skip to the scene at the end of the episode, but we'll see another point where Henry needs to make a bigger decision than is usually shown, and he knows what he has to do. He just sometimes needs someone to kind of back him up, but deep down he knows what he needs to do and he's going to do it. He just isn't as confident as Trapper and Hawkeye, and as we'll see in later seasons, it's very easy to be confident and funny when you're not the one in charge. So you know, Henry's style is different than people will meet later in the series, but he's still a good CO. It's just that, like you said, also Radar is just a superhuman clerk. So I mean, you'd want somebody like that. So although it might look like it's almost undermining Henry, you need somebody like Radar. So I'm sure Henry's
Yeah.
happy for it. But Henry knows what he needs to do when it needs to get done.
Well, and to get
Exactly.
a little meta on everyone, I always love these scenes because of the tremendous acting ability that Gary Berghoff would have to possess to pull this off as flawlessly as he does. And I'm sure that I would love to get my hands on the blooper reel, if one were to exist for these early seasons, 3, 1, 2, because I have no doubt that Gary just bursts into laughter at some of these
Mhm.
lines
Well, and
just because of
it's
the.
got to be hard too, because it's not just that they're talking at the same time; they're saying the same sentences slightly off from each other. And I don't know if you've ever done the thing where you have a microphone and your headphones are off by like a half second, and you can't quite talk because you're hearing yourself, but you're trying to say that. How they don't speech jam each other when they do those lines is boggling to me.
Yeah, they
They
talk about
just,
comic timing. I mean, that's literal comic timing that you have to be able to
mm-hmm,
come in at the exact moment that the other person is either finishing or I guess they would maybe if they when they rehearse, they would say, okay, when I hit this word, then you start saying this and I'll be able to. So, yeah, I mean, it's literal comic timing. And he had it with McLean Stevenson and yeah, I think you have to be a certain kind of actor. You also have to be able to give and take also because
mm-hmm.
you're both going for the laugh, so you can't be the one who's like, well, I'm gonna try to go over him or something like that. I mean, so yeah, that's got to be hard. It's not
Yeah,
something that you see all the time.
and Henry being saying all this very concerned and like, oh, we got to deal with this, we got to deal with this, and Radar being very matter of fact, very blunt, like, yep, we got to do that, yep, we did that, yep, like, yeah, the back and forth between them is it. It was a little rough maybe in the early season 1, but now it's real smooth. I love it. Uh, the first bit of the OR is pretty bog standard. We got uh Hawk working on a patient. Trapper mentions that we got a repeat customer here. They look like, you know, they look like your Stitches, Hawk. If they look like Stitches, then he isn't mine. The typical banter. Uh, we see Henry drop an instrument, foreshadowing for future. Uh, Frank, Frank,
Frank.
you make it so hard to like you, Frank. He comes into the OR, no gown, mask off, to announce that he is missing his tortoiseshell scrub brush with his initials in him, sent by his dear sweet mother.
With his initials
Frank,
in gold leaf.
in gold leaf, which sounds lovely.
Is this the first
So,
time Frank is this is basically the Frank look. He's got the well, as we call it here on the East Coast, the wife beater, the
yeah,
t-shirt kind of on. But that is the Frank look going forward. He does favor. Maybe
the
Margaret
tank
likes that
top.
look on him. I don't know, with him in the tank top.
I'm gonna mention this now. I noticed it with Larry, but once I noticed it with Larry, I noticed it on almost every actor in this episode. I don't know if it's because of the OR lighting or maybe I I always have this thing with MASH is I think you can tell when they change camera models every couple seasons because a couple of the season 1 episodes look really grainy, but some of the season 3 episodes start to look a lot clearer, at least to my eye. Something about this episode, all the actors have eyes are like I don't know what they did, but
Super bright.
Larry's blue eyes are real bright. Hawkeye's like steel blue eyes are real bright.
I noticed that
Trapper,
too.
yeah,
Yep.
Trappers like you can. I don't know what they did or if it's just because of the big OR lights. Like it stood out to me so much I felt like I had to mention it. That's how like much it popped in while I was watching the show. So I don't know. That may just be me, but yeah,
No, it wasn't you. I noticed the same thing.
I don't know why. Maybe it's just because there were a lot of because we're in OR, we get a lot of the close face shots more
That
than
could
we
be it.
usually
Yep.
do. But uh Frank, again, the first couple seasons, they give Frank these little lines where he's being a pip, he's being a pip. But then when he gets asked something in the moment about the medical situation, he kind of, it's like a little switch flips for a second. Like, Frank, how many wounded do we got out there? 30, 40, more coming. And he goes out back to finish scrubbing. Like, It's like the professional part of Frank turned on for like a fraction of a second and then turned back off. I don't
And
know
maybe
why.
he has a little self-awareness also that he just knows that he's not going to get anywhere with this, so he just gives up and he reverts back to actually being a doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I would say he has a little bit of self-awareness, but it is Frank that we're talking about, so I don't know
Yeah.
if that's possible.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Even with Frank, as much flack as we give him, and as much of it is as deserved as it is, there's got to be a lot of ingrained training in him. In the same way we've noticed Hawkeye and Trapper sort of snap back to what they're doing in the medical field. Frank also has that tendency when he's asked a direct question about a patient.
Frank is still not a comic like a cartoon villain yet. He has not reached full cartoon villain status.
No.
So don't worry, it's coming soon.
but it's coming.
It's on the horizon. I can hear it in the distance. We get the Ethiopian soldier gets carried into Hawkeye's table, and I do want to grab because he is credited. Fun fact.
Does his IMDb list other appearances? Because I swear I've seen him before.
It does have other appearances. His name is Orlando Dole. He is in the 1981 movie Tattoo. He is an inmate in Short Eyes. He is a pimp in Author, and he is Pablo in The Singles Retreat of 2023. So he had a couple movie appearances in the late 80s or late 70s and 80s, but that's about it. Any of those ringing a bell, Ethan?
I don't think so. I don't know what I'm thinking of then, or who I'm thinking of, rather. Unless I saw Tattoo and completely forgot, which possible but unlikely.
If you did, let me know if it's good.
But so yeah, the Ethiopian soldier. Fun fact about the Ethiopian. I can't say Ethiopian. There's I keep saying Ethan. Yeah, Ethiopian. Again, this comes up a lot in the show, and I'm glad they do it. Korea was a war fought by the United Nations, and Ethiopia did send a few battalions of their Kagnu infantry to Korea. 3,158 men total saw action. They suffered only 121 dead and 530 wounded. And they had the distinction of winning all of the 238 engagements they had with the enemy. So,
well, at least this guy's coming out of a win.
Yeah,
I mean, if I'm starting a war, then I'm calling Ethiopia in.
Apparently.
Seriously.
So he has multiple fragment wounds, doesn't speak English. Hawkeye tries to comfort him and let him know he's going to be okay. But we're not sure if the message gets through. Post that surgery, we have Hawkeye hanging out in the mysterious corridor while Radar brings him coffee, and rather than drink it, he elects to shave with it, which, okay. He also
We've all been there.
He also requests a Maine lobster, drawn butter, French fries, and a bottle of the house white wine.
Ooh, I'll have the same.
That does sound good right about now.
And I love this happens several times to Radar throughout the season when he genuinely is like, "Is there anything I can get you?" And someone, usually Hawkeye, is like, "Oh yeah, you can." And he pulls out like his pencil and notepad, and Hawkeye's like, "I'd like a Maine lobster." And Radar just looks at him and just puts the notepad away, like, "Oh, here he goes again." but he listens. He still stands there and is like, I'll let him vent via comedy. So he promised the people donating blood donuts, so he's off. Radar, man, this unit would burn to the ground if Radar wasn't here.
Literally burn to the ground.
I hope that's an episode we get in a later season. Radar goes on leave to Tokyo for a week. and the camp tries to
The
stay
camp
together in his
turns to the
absence.
ground.
Yeah. I think I broke Anthony.
Uh, Nostradamus Ethan. Anyway, uh, it's like he says a lot of things.
Some of them stick
Some of them
sometimes.
stick sometimes.
You're a
That's my
pistol.
whole approach to this podcast. If I throw enough shit at the wall, something is gonna stick.
Literally.
Yeah.
Doing this podcast with Ethan when he just throws shit at the wall like that is like that scene. We haven't seen this episode yet, but where Frank tears up the pillow while he's reading the letter. I'm just over here like,
The weather calls us nuts.
so Radar departs and Henry comes out, and look, oh, Henry's gonna get some character development. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah, we love it. He's kept count of all the ridiculous surgeries he's done just in the first few hours. 2 thoracotomies, a bowel resection, and a splenectomy.
Partridge in a pear tree.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
What the hell is a thoracotomy? I'm gonna Google that real quick.
You know what? I didn't think to look them up. If you want to look up thoracotomy, I believe a splenectomy is the removal of the spleen.
That's my assumption.
A bowel resection is, I think we talked about this way back on one of the episodes. It's where you cut out the damaged section of bowel and suture the 2 ends to each other.
A thoracotomy is a surgical procedure in which a cut is made between the ribs to see and reach the lungs or other organs in the chest or thorax. So somebody had a chest wound.
Okay, so it's getting into the chest cavity. Yeah. Okay. Which is crazy. I mean, it's, to be honest, it's crazy that Henry's doing that, because theoretically, whether you go by movie lore or show lore, Hawkeye / and/or Trapper are the thoracic surgeons. So the fact that Henry is comfortable enough going into the chest is kind of what he's about to talk about here. Like, that's some serious doctoring he's doing. But Hawkeye doesn't want a backseat doctor. Sure you don't, Hawkeye. Yeah, that tracks. He starts to mention,
not like his character at all.
Yeah. What? Backseat doctor? Hawkeye? Never.
No.
He starts to mention to Henry, like, you dropped your instruments 3 times, but they are interrupted by Klinger carrying out the Ethiopian soldier. He wants to thank Hawkeye for helping him, but of course, not being able to speak English, he reaches out and kisses the doctor's hand. And that makes Hawkeye very happy, because he's a sentimental ball of goo, and we love it.
Just a look on his face, the ghost of a smile. Goddamn, what a meaningful scene. I know it's supposed to be, but seriously.
But also, what a wonderful lead into what Henry's about to talk about too. I think
this whole scene is perfectly understated.
It's so good.
It's perfectly understated, and the first, especially 4 seasons, do these kind of things so well, where they just play it at the perfect tone and keep it very, very understated. And that's why it hits you even harder. It's because it's not, there are no big flashing lights behind it saying, look at us, and listen to what we're going to say because it's going to be important. No, it's
very casual.
Yes.
But this next part, this happens in every doctor show ever made. If you're a doctor that has something wrong with them and you're like, it's not a big deal, every other person you work with is going to go, it's a big deal. So Hawkeye recognizes that Henry is pulling at his fingers, rubbing his hands. How long has it been like this? Nothing. It's just a cramp. He's like, yeah, we all get cramps. I'm the cramp champ. This is different. I know the signs of arthritis. Henry's trying to double talk. It comes and goes, and Hawkeye points out, Henry, if you have chronic arthritis, they can send you home. Like, you've got it. No, total happenstance. You've got a golden ticket. We were talking about Willy Wonka before this. Like, he does have a way to sign himself out to go home, essentially.
And this happens in every war show also, where if it's a doctor show and it's set in the war, where they say, yes, I could go home, but I don't want to. And then in the next episode, they will complain about how horrible it is there. And
Yeah.
they wish
Well, and
how they wish
even
they could go home.
well, and even we get episodes in the future where a character will say to another, I can give you 1,000 reasons to go and no reason to stay anyway.
Mhm.
When in reality, it's like, no, get the fuck out. Like,
Yes,
go.
go. Go
hold
home.
on. What a banger of a quote. What the fuck?
I can, the dude, we'll get to it.
Oh, we'll get
It's
to it,
pretty
yeah.
far away, but yeah, I can think of 1,000 reasons to go and no reasons to stay anyway.
Anyway,
But Henry points out, like, look, I have a great practice back in Bloomington. I've probably seen everyone in the town naked. Like, but it's simple medicine. It's cookbook medicine, as Hawkeye calls it. It's, you know, slicing off a wart, treating
Turn
the
your
mumps,
head and cough.
turn your head and cough, you know. But, and I would imagine, again, I don't know if you guys know, it's not a doctor, but I would imagine if you go to medical school, become a surgeon, and learned the fascination that is this biological machine we operate in, the sense of being able to hone that craft, even someplace as terrible as a MASH unit, must be so vindicating. Like again, a character in the future, I have hands that can make a scalpel sing. Like these all, even to an extent, Frank is a surgeon, which is a skill I will never be able to comprehend.
Yeah.
But
if you're also going to be a surgeon,
all 3.5 of them are really good doctors.
There's got to be ego involved to be a surgeon also. I mean, we're making fun of Hawkeye with his obvious ego, but if you're there every day saving people's lives and you know in the back of your mind you're going to go home and you're going to take people's temperature and tell them that they have to go home and take 2 aspirins, there does have to be a certain part of you that wants to stay and be, as that famous Alec Baldwin quote from, I can't think of the movie from the 90s where he says, where he plays a doctor who's on trial and he says, you want to pray to God, I am God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Thomas and the Magic Railroad.
No. I was gonna be like, Hunt for Red October. No.
That's when George Carlin hosted it.
Oh, you're thinking of that terrible movie. Oh God, Ethan, no. Come back to us. No, well, and it's weird because a similar vein, one of the audiobooks that circles through on my listens at work is The Godfather, and there's that doctor that helps the singer whose name I suddenly can't remember, but his whole thing is like, I give bad news to people every day. I just gave you the greatest news that you're gonna be able to sing again, and you're treating me like crap. You know, I know you think us doctors are God, but it's a genuine pleasure for me to come in and not tell you have cancer and that's just a wart in your throat. There is an ego thing, but also there's got to be a little bit of that. You know, the astronauts go to the moon, see the Earth from a whole new perspective, and come back with profoundly changed. Like doctors, after looking inside people so much, there's got to be a little bit of that same feeling of like, kind of wonder of the universe type thoughts. But yeah, Henry says, I'm able to do more doctoring here than I ever could back home. But Hawkeye very poignantly says, hey, wars don't last forever. Only war does. Eventually, you're going to have to go home and die in your bed in Bloomington. Henry says he's done that several times just by drinking too much and passing out when he gets home.
By the way.
Had to write an IOU for his wife a couple times.
Well, I'm really glad that Henry is gonna die of old age in his bed at home in Bloomington.
It's probably going to be a lot. All of his patients will come to see him, who he has helped over the years.
And nothing bad has ever happened to Henry ever again.
No, there are 2 really, really good quotes in this episode that will have significant meaning in later seasons. I'm not going to say which ones they are.
Oh, come on, please, I'll even mute and deafen.
Man,
or if
you know,
one of them has already passed, but
you know, Laurence, Larry, and Gene are sitting in the writer's room going,
but you're talking about
that knife.
a banger of a line. That's a great line. That wars don't last forever, Henry. Only war does. which is
Mm-hmm.
very true.
War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Huh. Uh, Radar had the good idea to pipe the sound from the movie in, which dude, as someone who sits at a computer all day doing graphic design, these are on constantly. Just listen, like, great idea, Radar. Help pass the time, keep the mood light. Their Blood and Sand is the film they're watching. Tyrone Power and Rita Hayworth. I believe
Hotlets and Frank of the
of old Seville, yeah. I pulled it up just to see. It's a 1941 movie about Spanish bullfighters and the women they love. So, you know, apparently it's about the tragic, drama-filled life of dating men who are essentially probably going to die young. So, yeah, all sorts of fun.
A lot of my ex-girlfriends could relate to that film.
Oh, no. So we get a soldier that would like to dictate a letter before he goes under because he's afraid he may die on the operating table, and he wants to write a letter to his wife. So the good father comes over, very happy to be of service. This is to my wife, Mary Ellen. You're the only woman I ever loved, honey, and that girl in Tokyo didn't mean a thing to me. And neither did those two, and that same goes for that girl in Okinawa and the two in Honolulu.
When did you find time to get wounded?
Yeah, when did you find time to get wounded? Go to sleep. And it's like, don't send the letter, father. He's gonna survive. I love that the whole time.
No, go ahead.
I love that the whole time we get this slowly increasing Spanish guitar. What were you gonna say, Ethan?
I was gonna say the opposite of this quote is a bit from Futurama. Leela, please, you're the only woman who's ever loved me. I never loved you. I mean physically.
Leela. Hey, so Ethan.
Yeah.
I've thought about it, but I've never asked you.
Yeah.
When are we gonna watch the Futurama episode War is the H Word?
You know what? We might do that.
We need to do that because
tonight. We might do that tonight.
That's absolutely going to be an extra episode of this podcast is watching War is the H Word because it's one of the best like referencing MASH type in pop culture TV episodes that I've seen. Have you seen that, Mike?
I didn't. I watched the first couple episodes of Futurama. I think I've heard of that episode just from being in the MASH circles and all that kind of stuff. If you tell me exactly what happens, I'll be like, oh yeah, I think I know that they referenced MASH.
Zoidberg is Frank. So
yes, okay, yeah.
They actually got Alan Alda to do a guest appearance.
Alan Alda voices the Hawkeye robot, and he literally has a switch that's
yep.
Hilarious and sarcastic and maudlin. This isn't a war, it's a murder. Flip, this is no war, it's a moida. It's like they poke fun at MASH in a way that you know the people writing the episode loved the show. It's not maliciously making fun, it's taking the piss. It's like yeah, it's so good.
And Alan Alda's never been afraid to. I don't know if you guys have ever watched 30 Rock, but he directly references something from the finale in one of the later episodes that
I've seen clips. Yeah.
I'll wait 9 years from now to bring up again.
No, we have to do it at some point. That and Ethan's gonna hate me for he thought I forgot. We're absolutely gonna have to watch Mush at some point too.
Son of a bitch.
God bless the man who put all 5 episodes up on YouTube.
He is a saint.
We're gonna have to get real drunk to watch that. I'm gonna warn you right now.
Oh,
I'm real drunk now.
Twist my arm. Threaten me with a good time.
8 minutes in, boys. I'm so proud of us.
Radar. No, we're good. Dude, we're moving way faster than I thought we would. Radar comes in and asks, since dinner's gonna be in the OR, should the mess make hot food or cold food? You know, his hot food's usually cold enough for me. Har 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 har. Frank is getting annoyed at all the music and the food and the joking and all that stuff. Hawkeye's not letting him be a party pooper. He's like, dude, we're in surgery. Be quiet. He's talking smack. But Frank lets slip. This is already hard enough removing a man's kidney. And Hawkeye, alert to how weird that sounds, sends Trapper over. And Trapper catches that on the x-ray, the patient only has one kidney, which I think would that not preclude you, like, keep you from military service? I feel
it
like
would.
that's
According to
kind of a big deal.
According to IMDb, which, as we all know, is taken as the God's honest truth, you would not. Yeah, you would not be allowed into military service if you only had one kidney.
In all
And-
fairness, people
Yeah.
have lied about much bigger
I
things
was
to
going to
get
say
into
that.
the armed
Yeah,
forces.
how would they know?
so-
I mean, yeah.
Literally, I was watching. If you guys have not watched any videos by a gentleman called the Fat Electrician on YouTube,
Oh,
he
I
does
love his
military
stuff.
He's a former like Gulf War on Terror vet. I think War on Terror vet, but he goes into like military history. He literally was telling the story of this crazy pilot who like customized his bomber, and his crew did all sorts of crazy shit
What,
in
the
the Pacific.
B2 that
No,
the unkillable B12?
Yeah, something like that. But
Old 666.
yeah, old 666.
Yeah.
Literally, he went
Yep.
and did his eye exam one day, and he failed because he has terrible vision in one eye. So he went in the next day, did the eye test, and the doctor said, "Okay, switch eyes." I went, "Okay," and covered the same eye again, and the doctor didn't notice. And it's like, Jesus Christ. So yeah, the fact that this man has one kidney is not an impossibility, but Frank almost cut out the one kidney, which I don't know if you know this, Ethan. That's not good.
Well,
You need-
as a drinker, I can tell you the kidneys serve very little function.
It's the liver you got to watch out for. To be
Yeah,
fair,
of course, live is in
yes,
the name, dumbass.
yeah, yes, yes. Frank is the lower end of the surgical skill ladder in the room right now. But to be fair, they are stacked with wounded. They've been operating for God knows how many hours now. And he even says, "No one told me we took x-rays. I was in such a hurry. He was so messed up." And he kind of like, and he has a moment where I'm like, man, if they just wrote some future episodes slightly differently. Frank has a moment where he stops, looks at Margaret, and goes, "I could have killed him." Like, they have so many opportunities to make Frank have a little bit of an epiphany of some sort. But going back to the dentist from 5 O'Clock Charlie, men like Frank are indestructible. He will just keep right on his program.
Yeah, I mean,
an hour from now, he'll be bitching about something else.
It's not like we have any examples of that in current events right now. Come on.
You know, the other thing that I wanted to point out from this scene is I respect the hell out of Hawkeye and Trapper both. For as much shit as they give Frank, this had to do with with medicine. It had to do with helping a patient. They don't give him any flack for it. They point it out to help not only Frank but more importantly the patient, and they let it be. Which I know we were very recently, just a few minutes ago, discussing egos, but I think really does speak to their character as a whole. I just really appreciated that.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that. Listen, we've been saying it through this episode. Frank, in this situation, he is not cut out for this situation. He's just not. Now, back home in Indiana, he's probably a fine doctor, a fine surgeon who does not have to operate or do his work while bombs are exploding around him, and he's working 17 straight hours, and he's having people put in front of him that look like they were put through a meat grinder, with people making jokes and who he thinks hate him. So I do like that too. Hawkeye and Trapper, and Hawkeye almost exclusively deal with it by making jokes. That's how they don't go insane. And that's not the way Frank is wired. But when the chips are down and it comes to actual medicine and helping the patients, Hawkeye and Trapper are always going to fall back on being doctors. And that's what they do here. And I think, while this is going on, just like Anthony just said, Frank hasn't tripped over that line yet of being more of a cartoon character. He's still portrayed here as a good enough doctor who can just be, as we said, a pip. So I think they realize, okay, I know we give this guy a hard time, but he's going through it right now. We got to make sure the patient's okay, and then it's over because we need him, even if he's not the best. We need him because we can't do it all while this is going on. When people are walking in saying there's 60 more people out there and you've been working for 15 hours, you're going to take whatever help you can get, as we'll see in a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On that note, here's where I said the brakes were gonna slam on this recording. There's no pulse, doctor. What do you mean there's no pulse? He was fine literally a second ago. This might be so far the most. I mean, we got Hawkeye's friend dying on his operating table, and we got in a couple other scenes. This next like 60 seconds might be the most visceral OR scene we've gotten so far, and I love it. It's so good. So Hawkeye's patient has no pulse. Immediately, Margaret comes over. She's on it. Margaret's excellent in this scene. You've got Father Mulcahy standing by, Henry and Hawk working on the patient, the nurse on the bag, and we basically get an uninterrupted them dealing with a surgical emergency. Hawkeye starts doing the normal procedure of, adrenaline needle for the heart, a couple chest compressions, they're ventilating him, and we got nothing. So Hawkeye starts going to do something they've never done at the MASH unit before, and that's open heart massage, which the idea of holding a beating human's heart in your hand is something that I have seen this episode hundreds of times. I cannot wrap my head around that. That's not a thing that really happens. This is clearly not like
the whole procedure. I can't to say when he calls for the rib spreader and you just put that into somebody's body and you're basically separating a person's body to get to a heart, to put your hand onto someone's heart and to not keep them alive, but bring them back to life is something that maybe you can understand the concept of it, but to actually think about doing it. And this is done. I'm sure, like when people watch MASH, they say this all the time. Well, this was, this was 1974, a half-hour sitcom, and like you just said, this is 60 to 90 seconds of pure drama that you would see usually on like an hour-long doctor show that they're doing in the middle of a comedy show.
Mm-hmm. May I watched this scene, no joke, 6 times before we started our recording. And I noticed something new every single time I went back and watched it. I would like to share some with you and the audience because some of them I noticed for the first time and they're really good. When Hawkeye calls for the rib spreader, 2 things happen. One, all of the background OR ADR stops and it's dead silent in the background. The word I would use is a deafening silence. Like it is, with the exception of the ambu bag squeezing and Henry calling for instruments, nothing else is happening. And it gave me goosebumps. Also, watch Margaret's face when he calls for the rib spreader. I love this so it's such great. We talk so much about how the all you get of them in OR are the eyes and the eyebrows because of the mask. Margaret's brows kind of furrowed as she's watching Hawkeye, and the sense I get is she's trying to anticipate what he needs as what he's gonna do next, because she's there, she's the nurse, she's ready to go, and he calls for the rib spreader, and Margaret's eyebrows go up, and she doesn't move for like a half second. She's like, "What?" And then she realizes what he's gonna do, and she goes and grabs the rib spreader off the cabinet. It's such a subtle little thing, but it's so good. Where Margaret basically has like a "what the fuck is Hawkeye about to do" moment, and she's like, "Oh, that," and she goes. It's so great. And then you see this unwieldy, ungodly piece of medical equipment come into frame, and you're like, "Oh, that's going inside him. Oh, no. Oh, no thank you." Like, a lot no thank you. Uh, and then, yeah, it's just deafening silence, and I highly recommend if you have never watched MASH with headphones on, do, because you'll catch little things. As you see Hawkeye start cranking this rib spreader open and you hear just a little, damn. He just the quietest little swear as he's doing this. It's so, the subtitles don't even pick it up. It's so good. And then you just get, again, it's like 35 seconds of just the heart massage and zoom in on Hawkeye and how focused he is and just quiet. It's fantastic. It is so fantastic. They definitely don't reuse the same zoom in on Hawkeye where a sponge flies across the camera like 4 times. Don't think about it, but it's so good. I'm done ranting. Gentlemen, do you have any thoughts about this scene?
I think it shows again with Hawkeye's character, and that's why this is one of the reasons why he is my favorite character. It's that mixing of, we keep bringing it back with this episode with ego. It's partially ego. I do believe that with his character, that he believes himself that I am not going to let anybody die. One, because I am that good of a surgeon, and two, because I don't want anyone to die. And it's played that way, and that's what makes this scene so tense. And it's a scene that, like you said, you can't take your eyes off of it. You can rewind it and watch it back. I mean, Henry says to him, "You're one cool cucumber." I think it looks like that because he doesn't get frazzled, but Hawkeye at that moment is, every fiber of his body is dedicated right now to, I am going to make sure this person stays alive. And that is all. I think that's why there's no sound, is because it's supposed to be what he, there's times in your life where something is going on, where some kind of, you're either in danger or something is happening, and there's like no sound around you. You just go into some kind of zone, and that's what it's kind of showing here, where he is basically in that zone where he hears nothing. His total focus is on that patient and doing whatever he can do to keep that patient alive. And
Mhm.
I, like you keep saying, this isn't something that some kind of like insight that no one has ever brought up, but to see that on a haha 30, it's really like 22-minute comedy show that is airing at like 8:30 in 1974 is just cool to think about, that they can put that in there, and there's going to be a scene like 2 minutes from now that's going to have you laughing and wanting to quote it. But right now you're watching this guy massage a heart and save somebody, and it's probably one of the most dramatic things you'll watch on television.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan, what about you?
I didn't rewatch it as many times as you did, I think, but I was sitting at work because lately I've been trying to watch episodes for the first time like 4 or 5 hours before we record, and then one more time right before we record. And I definitely replayed this scene several times. Just, it was so visceral. I know that this is at its core a show about a mobile army surgical hospital, but this is still sort of a bridge that had not yet been totally crossed. We've had OR scenes before, but this is in a league of its own,
Mhm.
and it's just phenomenal. I don't
The
know how else to describe it.
the only other scene I would say that is as visceral as this, but for some reason it doesn't hit the same way, was the Dear Dad episode where they remove the live grenade from the
Hmm.
soldier. And it's like something about that. It's so, I don't know why this scene does it better than that scene, but I think something about it being a whole grenade shot into the soldier's body. Not that it can't happen, unfortunately, but I think that was so out of left field and not like the fact that the grenade was shot into him is so fantastical and insane that everything else is kind of like you're kind of shell shocked. Whereas this is a normal OR scene, and then all of a sudden it's all right, we're spreading his ribs, we're going in, and they choose to stay like they do close-ups on Henry and Hawkeye, which was neat because it's one of the first times I noticed like, oh yeah, Henry's got a lot more wrinkles, a lot more crow's feet. It's a lot more evident that he's older in those shots. But they also choose to stick with that wide from the patient's head side, and you see Henry and Hawkeye's arms in the patient, and you see this big piece of machinery disappear into the patient. It's like, holy crap. It's a lot. Uh, on the note of the deafening silence uh, in a scene in a 30-minute situational comedy, this episode is the first episode without a laugh track. There is no laugh track natively in this episode. So, good choice. Yeah, good choice. And it's again, for me, it's laugh track, no laugh track. I've watched the episode so many times, I don't really pick up on it unless it's like really egregious. Like it's just a laugh track inserted for the sake of inserting a laugh track, which happens occasionally, but no, it makes a subtle difference. Fast forward a couple hours. Now things are exploding, as they are to do. The power's fluctuating. Trapper's asleep on a gurney. Somehow I lost my subtitles, so I have no idea what anyone's saying. There we go. Frank, as we said, Frank, profound moment of humanity. Few hours later, I hope we're giving it to him good, the little yellow reds. Frank, you need to take 2 little yellow reds and go to sleep. Yeah. And then, and this is something that is going to get amplified to 1,000 by the end of the series. Hawkeye has a very, very, very stressful thing. And then Hawkeye, as he says in one episode, if he opened his mouth without telling a joke, he would probably just scream. He gets another one of his famous soliloquies, this being the democracy and white bread little soapbox speech, which along with the I won't carry a gun speech is probably going to have to go on a t-shirt somehow. I don't understand why they're shooting at us. All we want to do is bring them democracy and white bread, transplant the American dream, freedom, achievement, hyperacidity, affluence, flatulence, technology, tension, the inalienable right to an early coronary while sitting at your desk plotting to stab your boss in the back. That's entertainment.
Yeah, as I've gotten older, I've seen how that speech becomes more and more true every day. But yeah, I think that's one of the more famous. It's one of the more famous. I mean, it's included in a best of that they'll do later in the series. But yeah, that's one of the more famous speeches.
Pierce, you're certifiably insane. Gee, I can't understand why. Here I am, 20,000 miles from home, working as an extra in a war movie while this guy's blood is dripping into my boot. Nurse, you want to do something about that, or must I kiss you into submission?
You gotta admit
He's not just saying that. There's blood actively dripping into his boot because the nurse says, right away, doctor, and bends down to go deal with it. Like,
it's a funny line, but it's when you think about it, there is basically blood dripping into his boot that she has to take care of.
And stains their socks with gay magenta polka dots. That's not if that's not insane making, Frank. Neither is bending down every night with the flea circuits, eating food prepared by a cook who used to make box lunches for kamikaze pilots, or getting so bored out of my skull I put on my dress uniform for a trip to the latrine.
And as an avowed Hawkeye fan, I love Hawkeye. I do enjoy, and I keep saying this, but in the later seasons, there will be a character who will call out his penchant for soliloquies, and he will call him out on it, which I think is a nice change from Frank, who just has to sit there and take it. But this is one of the better soliloquies of the series.
And then he ends it by propositioning the entire nursing staff. And then
Yes,
Frank,
and
honestly,
offer a blanket apology
or a blanket invitation. And I will say, yes, there is a character that calls Hawkeye out, but also, I'll be honest, one of the better comebacks Frank has, Smut Merchant. Just because, like, he's not wrong.
No, he's not.
And I mean, to be fair, Henry, Hawkeye just screamed about the insanity of war while he's supposed to be working, and you just yell at Frank for throwing, like, Henry, you're purposely riling Frank up. You know this. Like, come on.
So here's, I'm glad you pointed that out because this scene really, Frank is not, if you really boil it down, as much as I am inclined to like Hawkeye and Trapper, he is not in the wrong here. He's just been such a thorn in enough people's sides that I don't think he has ever actually truly taken the time to understand why Hawkeye and Trapper act like this and why they're permitted to. You know, the whole humor as a coping mechanism thing. And
Mhm.
Henry, of course, understands and appreciates that. I don't think anybody has ever bothered to just pull Frank aside and say, hey, you know, it might not be your style. I even understand if you don't like it. We are in a war zone. Not everybody is cut out for it to handle it the, red, white, and blue way you do. Just cut everybody a
Just
little
let
slack.
him go.
Yeah.
And,
I will
and
be
quite-
honest. Do you know who's tired of all of them? Ginger Bayless. Ginger,
Seriously.
dude.
In this
Ginger is
episode?
between Hawkeye and Frank.
With her,
And
the look on her face.
Frank's yelling, Hawkeye squirts him with saline, and Ginger is in the crossfire, and Ginger just looking at both of them like, I'm gonna slap the shit out of both of you. Dude, Ginger is done. Ginger is so tired of all these assholes. Like, justice for Ginger. Like,
But going back to it, they have those memes online now where they show like the principal from what is it? The Breakfast Club, and it's like, now that you're older, you side with this guy. As I've gotten older, I'm the same way. I love, I love Hawkeye. I love Trapper. But I do see where Frank's coming from with some of this stuff, where it's like, I'm just trying to get through this. Could you please just, if he was a stronger personality, he could maybe say, I'm just trying to get through this. Shut up and let me do what I have to do. And I bet you, maybe Hawkeye and Trapper would have respected him more if he actually said to them, shut up and let me do this. Maybe they would say, okay, I get it. But he doesn't. So, but yeah, I can see where it's coming from. He's probably going on like almost 24 hours straight of surgery. It's like, I don't want to put up with this shit anymore. And it's constant all the time. So there's got to be a breaking point where you're just like, I can't.
Yeah. And then Hawkeye steals Margaret's line. That's, Margaret, we need more sponges here. Alan, that is Loretta's line. How dare you? How dare you? Trapper's outside waking up from his nap. Radar brings in orange juice, and he says a phrase I need to incorporate into my daily life more. Orange juice, freshly squozen. I need to use the word squozen more. I love it so much. I need to see it in the subtitles because it's so silly.
It says it. Yeah, it says it.
Freshly squozen.
That juice is not orange, by the way. I don't know what the hell that is, but
It's
that
probably
is
powdered.
yellow. Well,
It's probably
even
powdered orange juice or like a
what
tang.
the hell? Okay, the tang, yeah.
It also doesn't help that it's being filmed in a room that is probably poorly lit. I say poorly-ish lit, and it's all like beige and green and gray. It's probably not helping. Man, even the word squozen looks so charming. Squozen, squozen.
You need to have a T-shirt with like radarisms and just have a list of
Freshly
radarisms, and
squozen.
squozen is on there.
When I get out, I'll be a little old cobra. I'm going into my virginity and I won't get out until my adultery.
Please excuse me for my nudity.
My nudity, yes. Klinger, we didn't mention this. Klinger is in one of my favorite outfits of his, the like Red Cross matron's cape. I love it so much. This is the
perfect episode for Klinger because he's dressed like that, and who is the hardest working?
Dude, he's working his...
Yeah.
As we'll see, he's working so hard he breaks his wardrobe.
Yeah. But that's the thing with Klinger. He's trying to get out. He wants to get out, but he will always do his job.
So, look, Klinger, They're giving blood in the mess tent. Blood. I must give blood or die. And he runs off. I want you to refer back to our map. Where is he going?
Yeah, where is he going? I've always wondered.
He's just
that makes
dramatically
that
running into a
scene-
supply
It
closet.
makes that scene even more surreal because he goes off camera and Frank appears and he's doing the Bela Lugosi voice, and it makes the scene totally weird because where exactly is he going? You never see people walk that way.
And here's how you know Frank's exhausted. He looks after Radar when he'd yell something. He just looks after Radar, after Klinger. Usually he'd say something, but he's so tired he doesn't even do that. He just looks back, goes to sit down, just shakes his head. That's how you know Frank's exhausted. He's not in the mood to discipline anybody.
But I will again give him credit. He does thank Trapper for helping him with the kidney.
Yeah, it did rattle him. Regardless of what happens to Frank beyond this episode, it hit a mild little bit of a reset button for some of Frank's mood. Radar's handing out orange juice, and again, I love when shows, like, I was talking I had a very long Star Trek conversation with former guest of the show, Greg, and we were talking about how it's nice when shows give you a message without beating you over the head with it. You want an anti-gun message for the ages? Have Henry plunking bullets into a metal surgical dish and just look at Radar and say, "This is why you don't play with guns." Like, and Radar just being profoundly amazed and horrified at the human body and the trauma it can endure while he does that is... This episode's insane. Radar gives us an update. We're running out of gowns, towels, and 3-0 silk. The only thing we got plenty of is wounded, and, rolls his eyes. Scrounge, Radar, scrounge. Hawkeye and Trapper. Trapper and Frank are having a heart-to-heart. Why does everyone take an instant dislike to me? Saves time, Frank. We got along fine for the first 2 weeks. Exactly, Frank. And that was time absolutely wasted. Deep down, there's no real hatred, is there? And man, this is the first little drips we get of, like, Frank needs to talk to Sydney. If there's anyone in this camp that needs to have a airing of his grievances, it's Frank. Man is...
He's had it
literally...
rough.
His biggest concern is, like, do you guys actually hate me? Which, if you really stop and think about that for a minute, that is tragic. Like, he is so concerned with... Like, he's from a very strict family. We weren't even allowed to talk at meals or hum. If you hummed, you'd get punched in the throat. Like, I'm just going to come out and say it. Frank was, at the very least, emotionally abused as a child.
Yeah,
like,
at the very least. Yeah.
That's the only reason I can draw a little bit of sympathy from him, because it's like, damn, he has a couple moments where you're like, man, if only he wasn't the way he was because of his his upbringing. But, like, what does he say? He says, I think that's why I snitched, so I'd have somebody to talk to. And it's like, man, I can imagine, like, 10-year-old Frank thinking that, and I feel really sad all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, poor Frank, but also you're still a jerk and you know better than that. But I don't know. Frank, again, I said it before, Frank has been one of my favorite characters to pay more attention to as we do this podcast, just because it's like, you're such a dweeb, but also I do occasionally feel bad for you.
Yeah, and right now he's teetering on the edge of they could actually have developed him from here with these little nuggets that we're getting, because there's other episodes where we'll get a couple lines with a little bit more insight into his childhood, but that was never really it was they're all more played off for laughs, and they're not really they don't go any deeper, but they could have. Like I said, they were teetering right here, and it kind of teetered back into the let's just make Frank someone we can make fun of. But right now, they could have done a lot more with him.
Well, it just could have been a turning point, even if they did just go right back to making fun of him in the rest of the episode. This, as Bellicissa pointed out, this could have been a turning point for Frank in the same way as Iron Guts Kelly was a turning point for Margaret.
Like where he starts to realize, like, hey, maybe my MO isn't the best way to keep doing things. It seems to be getting more negative results than positive.
There is a fork in the road, and Frank took clearly the road more traveled because he kept, apparently, from what I gather, doing the same shit.
Yeah. Trapper agrees to cease hostility with Frank, if only to get a little bit of sleep. And he ends the conversation with, "Now shut up, Frank, or I'll kill you." We then get, we're just gonna
use that. I'm gonna use that with my kids. I'm sorry.
"Now shut up, Frank, or I'm gonna kill you."
No, shut up, or I'm gonna kill you.
We're gonna skip right over the PA announcement, or else we have to talk about the MASH timeline. This episode is taking place like 6 months before the war ends, if General MacArthur's homecoming parade is happening.
Maybe
we're
that's
not
what
going to
that
talk about.
hallway is. Maybe that hallway is
It's
an
the
interdimensional.
It's a
an
Stargate.
interdimensional gateway, and it's just like they walk through it so many times that they've just totally screwed up the timeline, and it's just the time is just perpetually in flux.
This and the Mark W. Clark announcement at the end of the episode that he took over from MacArthur, that happens in 1952.
Wasn't open heart massage first developed in like 1960 anyway? As long as we're fucking up with timelines,
that's not
like,
just don't think about it.
I mean, it's one of those things where yes, it probably wasn't done for the first time officially until the 60s. But that means it was probably theorized back in the 50s or earlier. Like, it's not an impossibility that Hawkeye said, "Fuck it, there was a paper, we're gonna try it. He's dead either way, let's go." So, you can tell Frank maybe is realizing that just saying shit to sound right is better, because Hawkeye makes a quip about MacArthur, hoping that some of the paper thrown on him was in bundles. You're maligning one of the top 10 generals in American history, which is not untrue. MacArthur was a strategic brilliance, especially in the Pacific War. But Margaret, the man was starting up with Red China, also true. And Frank, you got a point there, Hawkeye. And I love Alan Alda. Hawkeye looks up and it's just stun locked for a minute. And Margaret just keeps talking, and he's just, what? He's a 5-star general. The Daily News only gave him 4. I love. The shelling continues. We love that. Apparently, the next patient brought into Trapper is a business girl that got caught in the crossfire, which is wild to me. Could you imagine if in the middle of the beginning scene of Saving Private Ryan, there's just a French prostitute running for cover? Like, why are you there? Also, $20,000. Girl had $250,000 in today's money just on her person. Jesus Christ.
She is a really good working gal. She works hard for the money. I don't know.
She works. Roxanne, don't you put on that red light. And then in the middle of this chaos, Alan Arbus, praise be unto him. He's just here now. He just walks in. We love him. Yeah, as I said, Ethan, Sydney's here. Sydney is at least once a season from this point forward. And we love it. He came for the poker game, realizes they're in the middle of surgery. When you guys are going to be through? Hold it. Raid. I love Raid. And he's there. We need more silk radar. We're all out, sir. And this is, I'll defend Henry again. In order for him to have this answer so quick, he has thought about what they're going to do when they run out of silk for like 2 hours. He probably knew when Radar came in early and said we're running out of 3O silk. He already started thinking, What are we going to use to close wounds? So immediately, all right, under my bed, in my quarters, there's a package of sewing thread Lorraine sent me. Go. Like, Henry had that on the back burner ready to roll out when he knew they were going to run out of silk. Like, Henry is not a bad CO. Radar is just a better clerk. That is my defense of Henry.
Yeah.
He's not a great CO, but he's not a bad CO. Colonel, regular sewing thread for stitches? Well, it's that or use the stapler in my office, Major. Like, and again, that's Henry's way of being like, I am open to any other suggestions, but that's all I could figure out. Like, if you got something, say something. Like,
that's his version of it. He's still a doctor. He wants to save the patients. If that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do.
Yeah, I've used this term a lot in my day-to-day life, but I just have to remind myself sometimes that there are situations that I cannot make any worse than they already are. You know? Like this
in
podcast.
case... Exactly. In case you forgot who he was, I love how they diegetically re-explain to you who Sydney is. Dr. Friedman, the psychiatrist. Remember me? Corporal Klinger? Ah, yes, I had to get an extra remember you, I had to get an extra cabinet for your file. Any chance for a psycho? Klinger, there's 17 other guys wearing dresses ahead of you, and some real smart stuff. No, wait, something new. I'm beginning to wet the bed. Anything? like he knows. Like, is that good enough for you to like fill out a piece of paperwork? And he's like, get yourself a pair of rubber bloomers.
Sydney's deadpan reactions make it even better.
It's like Klinger is trying to test out some new stand-up comedy material.
He's testing out material in the middle of the OR.
It's like he's saying, I know I can't fool you, but could I fool someone with this? And it's like, no. Dude, no. This isn't going to fly. Yeah. So Sydney goes to leave, and this is where we learn, again, diegetically, you don't have to be told it to your face. You can just kind of pick up on it. Before being a psychiatrist, Sydney was a surgeon. And you don't have to have it explained to you. They say scrub up, and he's like, medical school was a long time ago. It's like, yeah, he went to medical school. He's a surgeon, but you don't have to have it like laid out for you. You can just interpret what's going on. And it, again, very casual, very natural. The audience is smart enough to pick up what you're putting down. Writers, we love it. I haven't washed my hands since I became a psychiatrist. I love. Last surgery I did was a boil on my kid's tuchus. And then Frank goes right back into Frank. Psychiatry. I'll tell you what I like to say about that subject. Sex. The boys are marching. We're in full, like, this is day 2 of surgery, and they're just running on caffeine and adrenaline. It's just great.
Keep talking, Frank. I need to go to sleep.
That's all they think about. I happen to think there's more than sex between just a man and a woman. Yeah, they're smoking in the dark afterwards. It's so, I love it so much. The writing and the delivery. It's so good. Radar got the thread. They're going to go sterilize it. The generator is on the fritz because of the shelling. Radar is also on the verge of passing out because he fell asleep in the mess tent and 2 guys siphoned him for blood after he already gave blood that day.
I choose to believe that Klinger was one of them continuing his Count Dracula bit after he walked clearly into a wall. Just...
Or, as we discussed earlier, through one. Yeah. Don't worry, Klinger gets his comeuppance if it was him. He busted one of the heels of his $14.95 pair of white shoes. So
I do like how Father Mulcahy, though, he says, well, these things will happen.
These things happen.
It's normal.
And the choice...
that the corporal who dresses as a woman will break one of her heels.
I love, there's no reason to hold on this shot, but they do, of Klinger walking out, clop, 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 clop. There's no reason to do it except it's hilarious. Sydney is handling himself fairly well, and we get. Is this the first time? Because I think this is a calling card for some of the future surgery scenes. Of this is how you know it's a tense surgery. Is the stereotypical arterial squirter across someone's gown? Is this the first time we get that? And it happens to Sydney.
I
I
think it is.
believe it is because I
Yeah.
certainly I feel like we would have made a note of it otherwise.
I think this is a weird sentence to say. I think my favorite one is when BJ catches it in the eye. And I can't
Yeah,
remember what
that's the one
episode it's
that
in, but it's
that's the one that I remember all the time.
but
But yeah, I
it's
think this is the first one.
they
Oh,
stand out to me because they don't overuse them. It's
Mhm.
only in a moment where it would be like, yeah, of course that's gonna like it adds to the scene. It doesn't become a trope or a thing they
Well, it's
overdo.
funny.
And
It adds to it. You don't think about it watching the show all the time, that there are scenes where they're just walking around and their uniforms or their medical, the gowns that they're wearing are just sometimes stained in blood when they are done surgery, and it's just not even commented upon, but it just becomes such a regular sight that you
Mhm.
see in the sitcom that you don't even think about it. But I mean, there are times where there's a lot of blood on there, and it has nothing to do with the scene. They're just standing there talking, but
Well, and even Hawkeye in the sentence right after that says something equally funny and horrifying.
yeah,
Stains right through. I never wear underwear. And it's like,
underwear.
that's funny that you don't wear underwear, but oh yeah, it would.
Yep,
Every article of clothing you own has blood stains on it.
yep.
That is insane. And I love Sydney. I didn't need to know that.
Too much
I'm good.
information.
You may think I'm crazy, Sydney, but if you ever want to stop being a doctor, you could be a doctor. Uh, then Radar has to tell Hawkeye that some unfortunate news, and I love Hawkeye. I have time, Radar. I'm just teaching this man malpractice.
And you do
Uh,
notice who the nurse is with them.
is it Nurse? It is Ginger.
It's Ginger. Poor Ginger.
It's Ginger. Poor Ginger having to put up with these people. The nurse told me to tell you that your heart massage patient didn't make it. He died a few minutes ago. And again, Hawkeye, someone will say it in the future episodes. Hawkeye's enemy isn't the establishment, it isn't war, it's death. He hates it. He hates death. And in this moment, he is lost. And he is frustrated and upset. And this is going to be, again, a recurring kind of cycle for Hawkeye. Huge stressful moment. Fights back against it with levity and comedy and as a result of stress, and then at some point that cycle doesn't work and something like this happens and he just kind of breaks for a minute.
But
And the more
it's nice that they have Sydney. He wasn't called there to help him. He's just there and happens to be working on the patient with him. And it's not anything that he does as a psychiatrist. He needs help with this patient, which snaps Hawkeye out of it because, like you said, he fights against death, and even if he is feeling this way, he knows he can't just stop because he has to go and help the patient that he's working on.
And I always, and I like how they balance the responses to Hawkeye between Sydney and Trapper. And I don't think because Sydney asks, I've got some bleeding here, should I clamp it? I think Sydney's smart enough to know whether he should clamp it or not. I think he's trying to get Hawkeye back in, hey, I appreciate you're having a moment, but we're still in surgery. Like,
and I
refocus.
do like Trapper. I know I had brought it up for the last episode when I said, oh, they should have gave Trapper some of the funnier lines. And I think you guys then brought it up when you did the episode, when you said that he is the one who says, we're not going to sign the papers because it disrespects the people who died in war. Here he says to Hawkeye, to kind of set him straight, is one, he says, we needed you here, when he said, well, I could have stayed with him in post-op. And two, he said, you bought him 4 hours that he wouldn't have had anyway. So
he was gone once, you bought him 4 hours he never would have had.
As much as I'm justice for Trapper and wish he got to shine more with the funny stuff and everything, in these episodes, he gets to be the voice of reason and deliver some of the more dramatic type of lines. And it's not.
As
I mean, it shows their friendship. I mean, he's trying to help him out. He's not screaming at him, saying, "Get back there." He's laying it out like, "You did all you could, and now we need you."
yeah, and as season 3 goes on, the writing for Trapper does start to get a little more nuanced.
Yep.
They're never gonna, and even with later in the series, we eventually get BJ. Even BJ, they won't write him to be equal or surpass Hawkeye. They just write him in a way where he supports Alan. Whereas Trapper was initially intended to be an equal, and then they just forgot he existed for half of season 2. And that's what ended up frustrating Wayne. Whereas Mike Farrell will come in, and I think he says in several interviews, I knew coming in that I had one, big shoes to fill, and two, had to bring my A game to be the other half of this pair, and in a way that supports that relationship and doesn't try to fight it. So yeah, I think Trapper's writing does slowly get better, but you know, whether or not it's enough to keep Wayne involved, we will have to see. Yeah,
In the
and then we get some
words of Glenn Hazard. Right as I thought I was soaring, truth came roaring in and cut me down to size.
Yeah. But I mean, let's be honest. You saw that writing on the wall in season 1, Ethan. Like,
I did.
The writing was on the wall in the 3rd episode of season 1. Trapper won the boxing match, and somehow she ends up with Hawkeye. Like, but so we get a little bit of surgery side therapy for Hawkeye, which gets us a little bit of Hawkeye background. And Sydney gets a great line in here. Some patients insist on dying.
Yeah, but and you
which is a very blunt, much more blunt way of rule number 1 of war is young men die. Rule number 2 is doctors can't change rule number 1. Like, some patients are just going to die. You can't help them. But you knew that going in, but you had to be a doctor. I never had any choice. It's all I ever cared about. It's all I ever wanted to do. So
I'd really love to hear Sydney's thoughts on sort of the role of ego in a position like this, where doctors cannot change rule number 1. However, because they have seen and done the things that they have seen and done, of course they are going to have a sense of self-worth that we cannot really appreciate. I would be fascinated to even come close to understanding the highs and lows of the human condition that must bring.
To that point, I wonder whether Hawkeye and another surgeon we will meet later in the show, Charles, I wonder if either of them would be as good of surgeons as they are if not for their egos. Because their ego has to drive them to learn and be better. It's a very much a double-edged sword. But Hawkeye thinks sometimes he'd be more useful as a cocktail waitress, and Sydney right back at him. You haven't got the legs for it.
God, I love Sydney.
Sydney is so.
Oh, I love
Sydney is so good. Sydney has ruined the concept of therapy for me because no therapist would ever live up to the expectation.
Yep.
Despite what Ethan says, at least it wouldn't be Freudian psychology. But
yet.
And then we get a line delivery that's just out of left field. There's no context for why it's said. There's no subterfuge. It never gets brought up again. Almost. Almost. You forget it happens until you don't. Sydney pulls his mask off and addresses the entire OR. Ladies and gentlemen, take my advice. Pull down your pants and slide on the ice. See you Thursday. And walks out.
That's how I'm going to start leaving rooms.
What?
First of all, it needs to be in a t-shirt. It needs to be in a t-shirt. Second of
true.
all, yes, you need to just be able to say that and walk out of a room, and that's it. What does it mean? It means whatever you want it to mean. It's paid off many, 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 many years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps
Mm-hmm.
only a few months in the when they walk out into that hallway in the MASH interdimensional time
It
flux
happened yesterday.
hallway.
It happened yesterday.
But I
This
think I
was
know
this was yeah.
To
This was
me,
the
I mean,
second time he
honestly,
said it.
like you said, it's said without any context. To me, it just means sometimes you have to just let it go. When all this is
Mm-hmm.
happening to you, you just have to let it go because you're going to go crazy if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So, ladies and gentlemen, take my advice, pull down your pants and slide on the ice. Sometimes you just got to let it go because you're going to go crazy if you don't. Instead of a
And then
t-shirt, I think it should be made into a plaque that that people can buy.
a motivational poster.
Yes, a motivational poster. A kitten hanging on a branch.
And then yeah. And then immediately after that, Pierce, I need you. Give me a second. 2 seconds. One would be better. And I love that they had that conversation with Sydney and Hawkeye, and they jump immediately to this. Because it's almost it proves Hawkeye knows the score. Some patients insist on dying. He was just so upset that he thought he saved that one. Whereas the opposite is true here. There is a patient that there is no earthly way he will survive. And I think that's the difference for Hawkeye is Hawkeye can look at this patient and go, there is not a chance. Even with a miracle, there is no chance. Because even Henry says, what's worse is he won't survive despite what we do. But he feels wrong not trying, at least. But yeah, so a patient comes in, Henry brings him over and says, look at this. It's at least 8 hours work, 2 surgeons, his liver's gone, and what's worse is he won't make it. And I think the key is Hawkeye saw a sliver of an opportunity to save the other patient's life, whereas he is, like Sydney said, he knows the score. Some patients insist on dying. In this situation, he is, maybe even because of the conversation that just happened, he's able to take that breath and go, Henry, he shouldn't have been brought in here. Like, and it sucks, but that's, we talked about that with the bus episode where Frank is sending in casualties in like the dumbest order possible because of xenophobia and patriotism. It's like, hey, sometimes you got to make the tough choice. If the Chinese guy has a wound that's going to take 4 hours to heal and you can save him, but the American guy's going to die in that 4 hours, what are you going to do? It's like someone's dying. You got to make that choice, but it sucks. It stinks. Your thought, Ethan?
I don't want this, and I don't think it is, but I want to say it anyway, just because I love the sound of my own voice. I don't want this to really be an indictment of Henry's leadership, or even lack thereof, depending on which camp you're in. I've always liked these little private asides that Henry and Hawkeye have had, where it's become very clear that Henry respects his medical opinion enough to get his input and opinion and value it. I think that that's a really special bond that I'm really looking forward to seeing in the years to come.
You're doing it to yourself now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but I think part of it too is Henry is all like we've alluded to this in several episodes now. Henry is the older surgeon. He is the more experienced, maybe not as technically experienced as Hawkeye is or as proficient, but he's got more years under his belt than the rest of the surgeons. He knows the right answer is this man is unfortunately going to have to die so that others may live. But that's it's like turning a nuclear missile key. It's like, hey, are we all on board with this? Like, am I I was just talking to my scouts yesterday for their leadership training, and we talked about the concept of crew resource management. You have other people around you who are as skilled, as intelligent, and might have an idea you didn't think of. I like to think that Henry knows that the right answer is we can't help this man, but reaching out to Hawkeye going, here's how I've assessed the situation. What's worse is he's gonna die anyway. And he knows that the next line out of his mouth has to be, we have to let him go. And Hawkeye confirms that, and he goes, okay, yeah. So it's not that Henry didn't know what to do. It's that he's like, someone tell me I'm doing the right thing before I commit to it. Am I missing something? I'm tired. Did I forget that we have an extra liter of plasma? Like what
And maybe
is
it
there?
boils.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know I'm interrupting. Maybe it boils
No, you're
down
good.
to also Henry at the heart of it is a civilian. He's not a lifetime army man. So he's making the decision. When we say like, oh, is he a good CO or a bad CO, or he makes a lot of these decisions coming from a leadership spot of, yes, I'm in the army, but I'm not. He's not regular army. He's also a civilian who was thrown into this. So he's making these. He like you guys just said. He knows the answer, but the civilian doctor in him is saying, at first, can I save this patient? I don't want to have to say that I'm just going to let him die. Whereas maybe somebody who is regular army and has been through a couple of wars would automatically make that decision and say he shouldn't have been brought in here in the first place. We need to work on patients who we can save. Take him out right now. So that's also the point of view too. I think that he is coming from it as, maybe I can, for a second, like you guys said, for a second there was thought that maybe we can do this, and then he knew we can't, but he just wants, like you said, he wants somebody else to say to him, yeah, you're right, he shouldn't have been brought in here, we can't work on him.
Mm-hmm. That removes the what if scenario in Henry's head. Like what if there was a way and I was just reacted too quickly. But Radar brings in hamburgers, which God bless him, we love it. I don't think you should be eating in surgery, but
yeah, I don't know if you want to eat in the OR. But
patient died due to infection from stray pickle. Like, no. The post-op is not collapsing, but the OR is in fact on fire. The Trapper smells something burning, and I don't know about you guys. Nothing will fill me with an immediate sense of panic like the smell of electrical burning.
Ooh, yeah, that's not
like,
good.
Like if you're sitting at home and you catch a whiff of like, what's plugged in and overheating, like that immediately scares me because it's like, ugh. But yeah, the light switch behind Trapper bursts into flame, and everyone starts panicking because they're in a giant wooden building full of oxygen and alcohol and ether, which fair. And then Trapper and Ethiopians.
Stop. And Ethiopians.
It's Ethiopians, thank you.
Oh, my mistake.
Hi, I would like to apologize to the entire country of Ethiopia while we're here. So Trapper jumps into action and starts squirting the first of all, he does the smart thing. He shuts the electrical switch off, so hopefully there is no current running through that wire anymore. And he starts dousing the flames and eventually gets it put out. And I'll be honest, I'm half on Margaret and Frank's side, like, hey, how did you know that wasn't flammable? There was a solid 50-50 chance that he squirted 99% isopropyl alcohol on that fire.
You know what?
Which
you said it best. It's a wooden building full of alcohol and oxygen. Either it was water and not flammable, or it's really not his problem anymore.
It's gonna not be his problem in about 5 seconds.
Like that's what more do you want?
And then as they're all yelling at Trapper, and I've done this, not literally this line, but I've had to do this a couple times at either scout trips or working at the summer camp where everyone's angry about something. It's like, hey, scouts are walking into camp. We can deal with this later. Like, we got a job. Like, hey, everyone, the war, remember? Like, yell at me later. We got shit to do. So
it was nice it was nice of that fire to break out to give Trapper something to do, though, in the episode.
Jesus, yeah. Yeah.
Justice for Trapper. # justice for Trapper.
Amen.
So the surgery session is kaput. I love that we opened the scene on almost the exact same camera shot of a very clean, ready to go OR, and we end on a just battered OR with them cleaning up or passing out. The PA announcement says, MacArthur's been replaced as General of the Army by General Clark, who succeeds General Ridgway, who succeeds MacArthur. And that's the news. Generally speaking, no one is succeeding us. So, and the episode ends. All right, that was OR. How we feeling about it?
Damn.
Okay.
Was that a
That
good
is a
damn
word.
or a bad damn?
No, it was
Or a
good.
beaver dam.
Beavers are pricks, first of all.
Expected something else.
Yeah, Ethan, what do you think? What do you think of OR? Give me your thoughts. Give me your opinions, your musings.
I have always really enjoyed the closed room concept episodes. One central location. There's a case for, it's all in the MASH camp. Of course, it's one, but the idea that the episode takes place in one area that is central to the plot is sort of explored in a lot of TV shows, and it's either done really well or really poorly. And I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I'm just gonna say it because it so adequately sums my thoughts. This is a 5 out of 5 episode for me. There's just no other way to put it. It is probably going to drastically alter my perception of other 5 out of 5 episodes going forward. It's a incredible combination of drama and heartfelt lines and comedy. I don't know what more to add. It's just a damn good episode.
Yeah. I think I will say this because I've looked at the list a couple times since we've started keeping track. Your 5 out of 5s are much more poignant because you are much more reserved with giving them than I do. But yeah, I'll just come around and say it. This is also a 5 out of 5 for me. This is the first, not just the first bottle episode, but this is the first much like we got a Dear Dad episode and then we got a couple Dear Dad episodes and then we're gonna get Dear various other ancillary characters. This is the first of the nonstop surgery session episodes that we get. I think we get like 7 or 8 of them throughout the rest of the series, and we get one later this season. I think we have OR, and then I think is it Deluge? No, Deluge
Or Crisis. Is it Crisis?
Oh, I can't remember. White Gold, Big Mountain Marriage, Aid Station, House Arrest. Bombed. It's bombed.
Oh, yeah.
It's this episode with more explosions.
A little bit funny, a little bit sillier, a little bit funnier.
Yes. Yeah, a little bit sillier version of this episode, but then we get Deluge in 4, which is another one of my favorite episodes.
Oh yeah.
But Your Hit Parade is another one we'll get. This starts a trend of it's not a what's the word? It's not an anthology episode. But it's like Dear Dad, where instead of a letter being the plot device used to tell the narrative for that episode, it's we're all in surgery, and as people come in and out, and then people go out to do other stuff in camp and come back, that's what's moving the plot along. Is that? So I love these episodes. I don't think there's one that I dislike in this style. This is a 5 out of 5 for me too. Mike, your thoughts on the episode?
It's a 5 out of 5.
What shocking!
Shocker. I should have said this. It's a 1 out of 5 for me, dog. Yeah, when you read like TV Guide or any of those Entertainment Weekly, when they'll do the greatest TV shows of all time, and inevitably, whenever MASH is on the list, wherever it is, they'll talk about how they could, it melded comedy and drama. To go from an episode like Iron Guts Kelly, which is one of the silliest and funniest episodes, to just go to the next episode that has a scene with an open heart massage, followed by a scene of one of the surgeons spraying saline into the face of another surgeon, and having one of the other characters do a Bela Lugosi impression while one of the other doctors is having a crisis uh, of conscious in the middle of a surgery because one of his patients died. And this is all within one episode. I don't think there's many other shows that do that. And when people say to me, like, why do you like MASH, or, what should I watch? This is one of those episodes that I would say you can show someone if you really want to get the idea of what MASH was. Because it might not be a bottle episode every time, but you have the drama, you have the comedy, you have the OR scenes, the stakes, and you get character development also. So yeah, I'm going back to back. I had Iron Guts Kelly as a 5 of 5, and this is a 5 of 5. You can't think of two more different episodes, but they do what they want to do, and they do it really, really well. So yeah, 5 out of 5.
Yep. Excellent. Yeah, this is just to give you the insanity. The episode before this was Iron Guts Kelly, which is one of the silliest episodes, and the episode after this is Springtime, which is also a really silly episode. So it's like literally it's oh, we're laughing, punch you in the face. We're laughing. Like it's really good. Yeah, it's a fantastic episode. Show it to your friends, show it to your neighbors, show it to your loved ones. Real quick, we will zip through. I just opened the wrong tab, and all of a sudden, Gene Wilder is on the screen.
There's never anything wrong with that.
Gene Wilder. Man, what? That's another episode. Is just going through. Hey, it's late 70s, early 80s. Pick your one-off character you want to introduce to the MASH unit. Who are they played by? And
yeah,
I have a Rolodex list of people that I would love to see, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. Let's hop over. I was late with posting the next episode thing. I only posted it a few hours ago, so we may not have a lot of responses, but that's okay. If you didn't see it, go respond and we'll still add it to the tally. Brad Ryder, 4.5 out of 5 over on the Patreon. Great early episode that shows how the show could do some great drama, a few funny lines, but I like that they kept them down to a minimum due to the subject matter. The lack of a laugh track is really great. There's also a nice surprise, Sydney. Nice surprise, Sydney part, making this a not so typical Sydney episode. And even though the two episodes are seasons apart with different cast members added and removed, it makes a great double episode with Post Stop, which is one of my personal favorite top 5 episodes. I really like Post Stop too.
That's a great episode.
Man, they're so far away.
Not if you jump in the hallway and
in the Stargate, the French door Stargate portal that MASH has.
Captain Pierce's log, Stardate.
Captain's logs.
Somewhere in the multiverse, you're recording that episode right now.
It's somewhere vaguely in the 50s. Is China fighting us? Maybe, maybe not. Who's president? We don't know. It's a co-leadership with Truman. They're both president. Every 30 days they switch out. Before we hop over to the hell site known as X the Everything app, I can't even say that with a straight face. I'm sorry. Quick shout out to the Patreon people: Private Stuart Boyles, Private Sarah McIntosh, Corporal J Temple, Corporal Jared Gallagher, Corporal Derek B, Sergeant Timothy Burleson, Sergeant Louise Black, Sergeant Dean Bear, Lieutenant Mike Jamison, Lieutenant Leanne, Lieutenant Brad Ryder, Lieutenant Bill Polly, and Captain Melody. Some of you have switched ranks, and it hurts my brain because I had it rehearsed the other way fairly well. So I've messed it up a couple times, I think. But thank you all for your support. Again, you are slowly filling the gas tank for the trip out to Kansas and other such exciting things that we hope to do. Very quickly from Twitter, some of you guys were quick on the draw. the first thing I see when I refresh the page. There is a group of fans, Ethan, that are planning a Best Care Anywhere live meetup, and we've elected some of them. It's Bellicist, so you can blame her. Ethan, you're closest to the geographical center of the nation. Clearly, we're going to be meeting at your house. No.
You know what? Honestly, I wonder. I've probably provided enough context clues in this podcast that you could figure out. You definitely know my town. You could probably figure out my address without.
Ethan lives at the corner of Kansas County. I'll bleep all that out. Mike, you're not allowed to go kill Ethan.
Hold on, let me write this down.
Nope, you're one off.
Give out his homework.
No, it's huh.
Yep. That's accurate.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I'm sure we could find a nice bar to meet at.
There we go.
Where's the post? There we go. All right, now that I've doxed Ethan, Bella says 4.25 out of 5. The episode always feels stronger to me than most, but in a good way. I like seeing a little more vulnerability of the characters and the interactions that happen when they're all crowded together instead of doing various things around camp. Yeah, the being all crammed in that room for hours on end gets a nice bit of depth out of them. Even Frank. Like, I think the only person that didn't really get a whole lot of depth would be maybe like Margaret, Klinger, Radar, Father Mulcahy. Like, yeah, they were there and they were part of it, but they didn't. It was mostly the Hawkeye Henry, Frank, and then I'd tack Trapper on there maybe a little bit with the conversation with Frank, but weirdly it was Hawkeye Henry and Burns that kind of got roasted, but a little more explored, I guess, because of the circumstances. And the nice thing is they will rotate those characters out, and other characters will get a turn in the deeper dive moments of the show. So, Chief Smash, another party planner. I see you all.
I can't wait to jump on after I'm done this episode.
He said that this was a 4-hour recording. No, it was not. We just barely passed 2, and we will be done shortly. Mike does have work in the morning. He says 4 out of 5. Also, an episode that focuses on truly the main focus of a show based on doctors and war. We see the OR so many times in the show. This one truly tries to give you insight on what it might look like. These kind of episodes were important in the early years, especially with more of the laugh-heavy episodes. Drama would become a bigger driver of the plots as the deeper we go. So this episode is a good establishing moment for those type of themes. Yeah, I agree completely. And Transplant Rockstar says 4 out of 5 saved kidneys. Good banter, heartfelt, happy, hopeful, tense, and sad. But no murder because Father Mulcahy never sent that letter. Exactly. Trapper being a good wingman for a complete stranger right there. All right. Well, we're going to actually be able to let Mike get to bed at a halfway normal-ish decent type hour as opposed to 2 hours before he has to go into work.
I'm going to log off of here. I'm going to log off of here and have another drink and watch football highlights. Who you kidding?
Nice.
Attaboy.
Nice.
Oh, I care if I only get 3 hours of sleep. It doesn't matter. It's only work.
Hey,
this is more. You
Amen.
need to know the important things of life. This is more important than work. Work will be there for another 30, 40 years.
Oh no.
An optimist.
So yeah,
Yeah,
an optimist.
As always.
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna try to get caught up on the video episodes so that can kind of go back to normal now that the summer's over. Join the Patreon if you feel inclined. Go over to the merch site, check out merch. There will be new designs shortly. I will tell you one of them. Pierce McIntyre 24, Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happy Hour. You got to rep that political swag.
Are you making? Are you going to make yard signs as well that I can put in my yard?
So don't go when we're done recording. I have something to show you. You'll love it.
Okay.
We have made some silly political yard signs this go around. You can also email us, bestcareanywherepod@gmail.com. Find us on the various social medias at Best Care Anywhere. You can also text the show directly with the link in the doodly-doo under this episode, the description. There we go. That thing. Yeah, I think that's about it. The next episode is springtime. It is ridiculous. Someone gets married, someone gets slaked, someone gets twirled. It's all wonderful. We go right back into ridiculousness with this next episode. So we also get a brief moment to be able to talk about Blazing Saddles. So who doesn't love that?
Yeah,
Ooh, I do.
So I also, side note, can't believe Blazing Saddles is being shown in theaters again in 2024. That's insane.
Yay.
I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but I think they're much like people who have never seen The Producers and then go, they sung a song about Nazis. It's like, you aren't paying attention to what's happening, are you?
Good morning, ma'am. And what a fine morning it is.
I take full credit because I had Bellis on my website that their website on the podcast that they're bringing that back in the theater. So I will take full credit for that one.
Yes, you got Blazing Saddles back in theaters just like MASH. What? Oh, why can I? Kelly. Rob Kelly got MASH back on streaming websites.
That's right.
He is the one to thank for that.
That's right.
Yeah, so join us for springtime. We do still owe you Kelly's Heroes for Donald Sutherland. I have not forgotten about that. It's just I have not had time to sit down and watch a full 2-hour movie and take notes for a podcast.
Life has been...
And we need to work out when we're doing Tommy Boy on the Sleazebag Cinema podcast.
Yeah, I need to work out when I'm actually going to be able to record episodes of it. As you see, this is the only time I can record episodes at 10
delay
at night on a Sunday.
We will move our recording so we can talk about Tommy Boy.
Listen, it is an open invitation. I will make it work. Don't worry. We will make it work.
Excellent.
Sometime in the very near future.
Excellent. All right. Well, we'll let you go. Thanks for joining us. And again, you are invited for the what I'm sure won't be chaotic at all roundtable discussion for the end of season 3, because I do want to do something big, not only because that episode is so culturally significant for American television, but also it is the end of the first of the 4 kind of seasons of MASH, if you will, like the eras of MASH. So I think that would be cool to do kind of a 1/4 of the way through the show check up and see how we're all feeling. So thank you, Mike.
We're breaking the 6-hour mark on that one, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Where can the good people find you, Mike?
Oh, they can find me on Facebook under my name, and they can find me on the hellscape that is X. I can't believe I called it X. X under This Lightsaber Kills Fascists. I have ideas to start podcasts. I start podcasts, and because of children and marriage and work and all other things, I fail to record episodes for them. So I do have a couple podcasts out there, Sleazebag Cinema and Mass Faces and Secret Bases, which cover comic books. So hopefully I'll be recording episodes of those podcasts within the next couple of weeks. Hopefully. I might have to just quit my job and make it in this wacky world of podcasting. As we know how you could just live off of being a podcaster. But no,
it's not impossible.
I know. That's the dream. But thank you guys as always for having me on. It's always fun. I don't mind staying up.
Excellent. Well, we will let you go. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
The time has come for us to say sayonara.